There will definitely be more on that in the coming days. Well, Bobby Fischer made a comeback to become world champion, and Mamedyarov, he will have to make a comeback to tie this first match in the final in the Aimchess Rapid. Jan-Christoph Duda is in the lead, and he will win this first match with a win or a draw. So what's happening on the board?
Well, Mamedyarov is in the mood to take risks, Jovanka. This last pawn push is only ever played by top players when they really want to win.
Yes, and I do believe that Duda should say yes to the challenge and step forward with the pawn. Don't play anything else.
Yeah.
We want the fun. Yes, and he does it. He takes on the challenge, and here we have, what is this called?
I can't remember.
I've kind of written it.
It's called a dubious opening for black.
Yes, I called it something in my notes, but I don't know. But this is one line that I have played where the bishop comes out, puts pressure on the knight, and this was not the best move. I actually had a nice system against this particular variation. It's much more common, actually, to develop the queen to protect the knight. And now I advocate just capture the knight.
Yeah, white's bishop can capture that black knight. It can ruin the pawn structure for black there. Also, the advances that black's made on the queen side, right? Especially that black b5 pawn, it's undefended. You gain some time against that. OK, Duda has gone for the most principled approach with an exchange. And this tends to be regarded as very pleasant for white, because actually the structure in the centre as well, white's pawn on the d5 square just clamps down on the black position. You have full control over the light squares often. And I play this position with actually reversed colours when I have a tempo more, when I have white, but basically doing what black does, and even then, I really don't like it. So here we go. White's light squared bishop was pointing at a pawn. Now white puts even more pressure, and that pawn has had to move. Before, it was too late. That black pawn on the b4 square.
Very good.
And now white's knight can come out from the queen side. White's bishop can move. White's the first to castle. Pleasant for Duda. But Mamedyarov has imbalanced it. That's what he needs to do if he wants to win this game.
And he develops his knight. So this knight is on a great square because it's going to jump onto the dream square, which is to put it on c4. And well, Mamedyarov, he has to take risks. So he pushes forward with his doubled f-pawn. And I love this move from Duda, just clamping down on the left side of the board. Knight's in his dream square, pawn is in its dream square. The only thing that white has to worry about is the power of this dark squared bishop.
Yeah, it is very powerful, though. You mentioned that phrase. How are we ever going to contain this dark squared bishop? This piece is unrivaled. White's traded off his dark squared bishop, and it cuts across the board. The main tension will be later on this pawn, right? This is the big weakness. It's defended by white's knight, first of all. OK, it's defended again for a second time by white's rook. And Duda has to hurry and get his king to safety before things open up. I'm expecting white's bishop to just kind of step one square. You mentioned this outpost, Jovanka. It's really nice, but where does it go next this night? Does it just stay there forever?
It stays there forever and ever and ever. Just a thorn in the black side. Because if the black knight, if it wants to develop, I mean, it can't really develop to the d7 square because some pawns are loose, the d6 pawn. And I do like Duda's last move, even though it looks a bit strange, developing the bishop to the long diagonal.
Yeah, but I like what Duda's doing. I also like what Mamedyarov's doing, moving his rook. And the computer really likes black, I've got to say. Computers often like the bishop pair, so this is why. But in the current position, look at black's pieces. They are coming to life. This rook is on a nice file now. At some point later, maybe, not right now, but later, it can come attack this knight. I'm expecting the black queen at some point to move, just to defend this pawn, and then, like you said, the black knight can develop. Maybe the black bishop can kind of come to this square and attack this white knight. It's a very imbalanced position. The one thing I will say from white's point of view is it looks really nice and pretty, but there's no plan. And I've found that when I've studied these types of positions before. So I like what Duda's done in general, but I think there were maybe slightly better ways of doing it. Usually in these positions, when I was studying, white should have wanted to push his pawn forward earlier, just while it was possible, because now it's too late. Black clamps down on this square. If you can't push pawns as white, you lack a plan. Yeah. So yeah, it's still very tense. Both sides have pluses, minuses in their position. Black also can't push any pawns, so a bit frustrating there. But can Duda Yeah, can he just hold the fort? Or will Mamedyarov find that activity that he's craving?
You've been studying the old classics. Hauska against Romain Edouard. And Hauska against Leroux. These two grandmasters, I was actually winning both games, but I drew.
Is this a French speciality to French grandmasters playing this opening against you?
Yeah, and it was actually within the same month as well.
Okay.
So it must have been something that they kind of cooked up or was going around, just around the world, the chess world at that time, that this perhaps was a good way for black to unbalance things. But I was like, no, not against me. and there we see Duda manoeuvre his knight. And I agree with you, David. I think it's very difficult, actually, for Duda to come up with an active plan. And Mamedyarov, well, he doesn't need to be asked twice. He pushes Harry. And his idea is to push Harry one square more and destabilize the white king. And that's why Duda reacts immediately by copying.
Yeah, but pieces are gravitating towards the king side now. Black's knight, for example, is coming over towards that white king. Still very tense. Duda not fussed at all. He looks so calm. I would not be as calm with white, I've got to say, just because, firstly, the match situation, you have the lead. You want to be 100% sure you don't blow it away with white. You don't kind of make any rash decisions. But he's blitzing. Mamedyarov's gained a minute since the game started. Both of them, it feels like they're impatient to get to the action point of the game. And wow, the evaluation part reacting.
It came suddenly from
Why
nowhere.
so much? I mean, there's no tactic. There's no checks in this position. There's no good captures. Maybe there's a threat that you can create. Why is the bar so far in white's favour? I guess it's maybe just the fact that the black light-squared bishop is now misplaced, and now you open up one line. Finally, we talk about pawn breaks. White should be playing on the queen side. That's where he has most of his pieces. His pawns are very advanced for white on this left side. So he's opening up lines. Maybe Mamedyarov not quite ready to meet this. And, OK, just as I was praising what he was doing, evaluation bar says, OK, slightly careless. And the problem is you can't keep everything blocked now. You have to trade off a set of pawns before white took you. And black's rooks look good, but they are staring against concrete there. They are staring against the wall of white pawns. So I'm expecting white now to use the only fully open file, that's the B file, and at some point shift his rooks over there.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I'm just looking at the bar and I'm seeing it slide even more in white's direction. There's no tactical shot. I think it's just simply that white's position is just very overwhelming because of this open line. And black has just no targets whatsoever.
Yeah, but then again, for a human, it feels like black is relatively active.
Yeah.
So Duda is not going to know that he's got this massive advantage. I don't know, if you saw this position, Jovanka, without the evaluation bar, if you were playing, for example, from the white side, which you have in the past, this opening, you would think, oh, maybe slightly better, but I don't know. What would you be thinking here?
I was thinking, when I was playing against these two players, I was thinking, I'm caning, I'm winning it, I'm crushing. But if I were facing Mamedyarov, I would be, again, very aware of him making active moves. And I do like his knight jump with the idea of relocating to the centre, just asking questions to the queen. But the problem, though, I mean, if I go deeper, there's no point, actually.
But there's a threat on the board, I think, for black, maybe to sacrifice this knight to blow open the position. For example, if white wastes a move, I'm not sure how, just moves a rook, for example, then knight takes pawn could be maybe an issue, just to make sense of these black rooks. And after the recapture, suddenly black's rooks spring to life. The white queen has to move somewhere. Another pawn might drop. You get 3 pawns for the piece.
Okay.
This bishop might suddenly come to life, maybe on this diagonal. That's why, OK, he stops this idea. Duda, he retreats his knight. I like this one, just keeping this square overprotected. Even if that line I showed wasn't good for black, you don't want to risk it, right? You don't want to allow things to change, especially against someone like Mamedyarov. Don't let him attack. So you defend. White's rook is coming in as well. This is a really nice square outpost for the rook to enter the black camp. The knight wasn't doing anything there. The rook from that square would attack this pawn in conjunction with the white knight.
Yeah, maybe it's time for Mamedyarov to give up material and try to initiate the random chaos button, but it's difficult to find. I was thinking,
maybe
step back with the bishop.
OK, step back with the bishop.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't see any... No, the light squared bishop was working.
Step back with this bishop, yeah. And if white's rook comes in...
I was kind of hoping to... You really don't want to go passive in this type of position. OK, he steps back with the queen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe his idea is to get this queen active somehow, but to me it looks like Mamedyarov's about to be seriously on the back foot after this rook idea. Coming in, Duda doesn't blink, he plays it instantly. How do you stop this? I mean, for example, if you have to just go passive, like you said, as black, just defend, maybe at some point you can dream of pushing this pawn forward, getting the black queen out. He does play this, but you're just so slow. And white's rooks can come up, team up against this black bishop, kick it away.
That would be the first move I think about, force the bishop to a passive square. And then again, you still look at the position. You know, black has only one pawn break.
Yeah.
And if you control it, what next?
Yeah, black wants to push this pawn so that his queen can jump out towards the white king, but like you say, you can just bring your knight over and just cover the square if you need to. You can also, for example, start creating threats. The rook can move across, you can bring your other rook in, try to pin and win, but wow, he finds a tactic. Jan-Krzysztof Duda, has he just won a pawn? If we go back to the game situation, he's just taken this pawn with his knight. Maybe that's just a really strong move. The black rook has to take this knight, it was too strong, and now the black rook can no longer defend its bishop. So white has won a pawn. Looks like a very good idea, unless black has something now. The valuation bar does judge that white is winning. Yeah, very important pawn. Black's rook is a bad blockade as well. It's going to get hit by the white knight.
Yeah, and the white pawn on d5, comfortably defended. Yeah. I must admit, I criticised Jan-Krzysztof Duda's opening. Like, I couldn't quite see a clear plan, but he's shown us exactly how white should play this position and against this variation. And it's been model play so far. And this was a move that I had on my radar many moons ago, but it just looks like it doesn't quite work.
He's gambling now.
He's totally, I mean, he's kind of hoping for Duda to capture that pawn with the wrong pawn. So it would be the G pawn. But of course...
Even that looks fine for white, to be honest. I think you can take this pawn both ways. And yeah, I agree. I don't really want the black queen to swoop out. But are you surprised, Ivanka? Look at the clock times. Mamedyarov's still at nearly 15 minutes, and it's moved 26. And he's had to make some critical decisions. Some crucial moments just bypassed in this game, almost.
Yeah.
It feels like they're playing blitz. It feels like they're both just itching to get to day 2 of the final.
Well, that's a problem for Mamedyarov, though, because you do not want to be starting day 2 in a must-win situation. And the way it's looking now, I mean, he will be definitely losing this match, and tomorrow will be a big ask.
Yeah, it just feels like with black, he's trying to whip up too much. He's trying to create too much, and Duda's just not kind of backing down. Duda's calling him out on his mistakes. And you mentioned this move, Ivanka, with Duda thinking now for over a minute. You mentioned there's one way you would take back. You would take back this way, most likely.
Oh, most likely, with the e-pawn, just to preserve the integrity of the pawns there on the right.
Yeah, they will defend each other. That's nice. If you took with the other, if you take the other way, sorry, then the black queen at least gets active. And although you can defend by bringing the white knight over, you control squares, you defend this pawn with the white rook. Although you can get away with this, I'm not sure you
looks good, though.
It does look very good to me. OK, he goes the other way. I think the other way is the more natural one, at least. And yes, black gets one check. Black can throw his rook in with a check, but this is easily blocked, right? The white knight steps back. Yeah, this is the problem with opposite colour bishops as well. Unless you can break through completely, your opponent's bishop will be able to control one colour complex. And we do see this position on the board. The black queen shifts over. Where's she coming? Where's she going? I don't see it.
I don't see it. I think she just did it just simply to prevent the white rook swinging over and offering a trade.
Yeah, white's rook can't do that, but white's rook steps across, and white's rook is coming up to try and pin the black queen. OK, the black king's had to move, but white is 2 pawns up. Surely there's a way. I mean, even if you take the slow approach and just kind of try and kick away this black rook.
Looks good.
Feels like black has no threats.
It looks very convincing, David. I think as long as you keep one rook around the second row...
Just to defend.
Just to defend, keep everything protected. you can't go wrong.
Yeah, this is the only weak spot for white. This is the only square black can ever break through on. So just keep your rook defending it. And should be winning now for Duda. +5, the computer says. Just with a bit of care. He's got plenty of time as well. He should be wrapping up today's match.
Went all wrong for Mamedyarov, not only this game, but today. Or has it gone all wrong for him or Duda? Just really good strategy today, not giving Mamedyarov any chances.
Yeah, got to praise Duda just in general. Every facet of his game. The openings, when Duda's had black, rock solid. The last game, he could have been more ambitious maybe, but when the critical moments came, he made safe decisions. Got to praise him for that. With white Duda, 2 games ago, very impressive. This game, very impressive again. Yeah, I'm struggling to find, superlatives for him because he's just been so impressive.
Yeah.
I'm very composed, calm. It's nice when a player keeps control, especially with white. You don't want to let it get too crazy. Here, Mamedyarov's throwing everything at him, but he's saying, "Okay, I'll take your pawns, but I'm still defending." And I think that's the strategy against these great attackers. You just have to stay super, super calm. Sometimes they attack you, it's inevitable. You just got to be able to control things when that happens, and there we go. Trying to trade off pieces, 2 pawns up. Getting rid of black's defensive rook makes a lot of sense.
It definitely does. And of course, Mamedyarov cannot make that trade, so he steps back. But you step back, I go forward. Is it now time to start pushing the d pawn?
Yeah, white has a very strong past d pawn. You could maybe be greedy and grab black's a pawn.
I was just thinking that as well. I think I probably would capture that pawn because, after all, 2 better than 1.
Yeah, actually it's 3. White's already 2 pawns up.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, 3 pawns. I don't know if you need to be that greedy.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, it's tempting. I don't see any reason not to be, essentially. There we go. 3 pawns up now for Duda.
Has the seal of approval. And still, take a look at the white king side. The bishop and knight, they're sterling defenders. They hold everything together. And Duda gives a shake of his head, takes a sip of water, and just gets ready for what Shak is going to generate.
Yeah, he's trying his best, Shak. The black queen is now in the white half. Again, no threats. Everything is protected. Everything's covered. The only loose piece for white is white's rook on the 2nd rank. That's the only piece that might get tactically... it's a tactical weakness, as you call it, Jovanka, just because there'll be some double attacks where it's loose, undefended, but shouldn't be enough.
And look at Mamedyarov. Looks like he is already giving up, and this game has lasted for 31 moves, and he still has 14 minutes and 47 seconds left on this clock.
Yeah.
That is only 13 seconds less than what he started with. Horribly wrong. Yeah. This must have gone.
Yeah, I think it was a bad opening choice, somewhat, because Duda just played it very confidently. He knew all the plans that needed to be done, and it was very, very effective. Somehow, Mamedyarov never got going. And, he leaned back just there, and he just said to himself, OK, you need to go into hustle mode. Coffee house chess is in order. You need to just push your pieces forward, put them in random positions, hope for the best. Because ultimately, Duda is winning. And if he navigates this with precision, he will walk away with match victory.
Yeah, some players, against certain opponents, Shak might still be feeling confident in hustling and swindling. But Duda's so good when he needs to defend or needs to find a narrow path. And he calls his opponents out on their bluffs. So. OK, he's going for the 7th rank now. The black king is just as weak as the white king, to be honest. So why not? 3 pawns up and on the attack, Duda. Yeah, it feels like Mamedyarov just lost his composure. He forgot that you can just play on your opponent's nerves. He tried so hard to avoid a forced draw in the opening that he ended up with a losing position by move 20. So, yeah, there's different strategies. You go all out, but then you can risk burning your bridges and being... losing a one-sided game, or you just keep the tension, but you risk maybe walking into a draw. So it's swings and roundabouts, but it hasn't gone well for Shak in this one. And I have noticed, actually, the older players, when it gets really tense, really nervous, like Aronian, they play super quickly. There's a case in England as well, Jonathan Spillman, very strong grandmaster, great guy. Former world number 3, I think, yeah, one of the best players in the world. The older he gets, the quicker he plays, just because I think he doesn't want the tension. He just wants to kind of rush through things. And nobody enjoys sitting there and calculating. It's not that much fun. So for Shaq, chess is fun, but it's also his job. So I don't know. I think he wants the fun part, but without the stress, without the calculation, without the boring side.
Oh, that's sensible. And also with experience, maybe you can trust your gut feeling more, your intuition more.
Exactly, yeah. And less to lose. Once you're kind of further in your career, you're like, oh, I've achieved a lot already. I can play with freedom. When you're young, it's like, I need to win this. I need to achieve, I need to prove to people. So that's why I think Aronian as well, he's become so much quicker in rapid chess, especially on the tour.
That's very interesting. I hadn't really noticed that. I always had gone by the assumption that the older you are, the slower you are. You know, you sit down, you need your cup of tea, you need to get yourself in the right frame of mind. You need to take that pause and go, whew. But
I agree.
But David is right. It's the more nervous you get. It's like, you know, when you're a child, you're free, you're a band, you know, you can just jump off all those things and you don't care.
Yeah.
When you're an adult, you kind of know what's in store and you know what's ahead. And tension, it's stressful.
Yeah. I heard that comes at the age of 27. The last thing in the brain to be developed is the consequence center. And that develops at around 27.
Wow. That's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
It was around that age where I started, being a bit afraid.
I
was
know.
like, against the younger players, I was like, oh, I don't really want to take this risk. Just what if they beat me?
Yeah.
But until that, I was like, yeah, I'll attack. I'll sacrifice a rook. I don't mind. I don't care. But okay, interesting. 27. So okay, to everyone watching out there, you know, it's never too late. But if you're younger than 27, take those risks.
Yeah, be aware of it, right? That's very important. And I do like Duda's move. He just moved his rook to the b7 square. The rooks are now defending each other. Beautiful. Yeah. Defensive. And also he's threatening to drop down with the b2 rook and offer a trade. And of course, because he is material up, piece trades will help him.
Yeah, for example, if black defends this pawn that's a bit loose, the rook is kind of attacking it. It's tied down at the moment, but for example, let's say black steps back. Sensible move, and Jovanka's idea, just retreating, getting rid of this, the most active black piece, trading it off, and okay, black can win one pawn back, but that's not going to be enough. You're still 2 pawns up with white, and long term, this pawn is just going to win the game. So that's in his pocket, Shaq, anytime he wants it, most likely. And the reason in this position, that the black queen doesn't really want to go and take this pawn is that suddenly there's no more tension, no more attack on this rook, freeing up the other rook. Rook takes pawn now, and white is going to break through against the black king. So, yeah, full control. How can black even improve his pieces? It's not clear. This piece can't be improved. It's got to guard the advance of this pawn. The black bishop can't be improved. The black knight can't really be improved. Just no way to increase the momentum. And it's only Duda who can improve his position. This pawn is marching. This pawn is under fire from white's rook.
OK, well, you know, he was all these pawns down. Why not be one more? And there you go. He offers another pawn. I mean, white can simply capture that. I mean, is there anything?
4 pawns are better than 3. 4 pawns up for Duda now.
Yeah. And, I mean, also there's a big threat of white simply pushing the a-pawn forward as well. Yeah. It's just devastating. It's such a great position for Duda.
Yeah, this one has been complete dominance. It's been very one-sided. And as well, another really instructive example of using your time. You shouldn't play this quickly no matter what. It's move 33. Shaq still has nearly 11 minutes left, but you don't take that game, you don't take that time with you to tomorrow, you don't take it to the next game. What's the point having 10, 11 minutes if you're completely lost?
Yep.
4 pawns down. Black won 1 pawn back, but now white wins a different one. And the rooks are both coming to the 7th rank. We call them the blind pigs. They'll just devour anything in their path.
And one is going to come right now.
Yeah.
There's going to be 2 rooks along the 7th row. Do you think we're going to see a resignation?
Soon. Shaq looks in pain. There we go. The problem is the black bishop can't move. If it does, the white rook will slide behind the black king. Checkmate.
Yep.
The computer says plus 13. This one is not going to last too much longer. I think we'll see Shaq resign, and
Yep.
Do we have it?
We have it.
We have the result.
It's over. A loss in game 4 and also a loss in the match for Mamedyarov. Oh, he doesn't look happy. And so doesn't young Christoph Duda. But he must be happy inside because a match win in the first match here in the final is very good news for young Christoph Duda. If he is able to just tie the match tomorrow or win it, he will be the winner of the Aimchess